Hello my fellow anglers and friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into the fishing forecast for a truly transitional day, September 26th, 2025, here in beautiful Ireland. This day, my friends, is going to be special because it truly encapsulates the heart of autumn fishing. We're on the cusp of significant changes, and knowing what to expect can turn a good day into a legendary one. So, stick around because I'm going to share some insider tips that will help you land those autumn trophies even with the tricky conditions. Let's talk about the key species we'll be targeting and how to outsmart them. First up, the magnificent brown trout. September is a fantastic month for trout on our lofts, particularly in the deeper areas, as they begin to feed aggressively before winter truly sets in. Based on my experience and what we're seeing, you'll want to be searching for them along drop-offs around underwater features and especially near submerged weed beds in our larger lakes. On days with a bit of a breeze, like what we might experience, trout often cruise the margins looking for dislodged food. For tackle, a 5 or 6 weight fly rod with a floating line or a slow intermediate is incredibly versatile. My little trick here is to use a team of wet flies or buzzers retrieved slowly. Patterns like the claret dabbler, octopus, or gorgeous George in sizes 10 to 14 are often incredibly effective. If fly fishing isn't your game, don't forget that spinning with small lures like Toby or Mepps spinners can also entice a strike, especially in rivers or when casting into choppy water. Focus on dawn and dusk, but don't rule out the middle of the day, especially if there's good cloud cover. Next, for our predatory friends, the Pike Deanshall hound. September sees pike becoming increasingly active as water temperatures start to drop and they really begin to bulk up for winter. They'll be found patrolling margins around reed beds, lily pads, and any sunken structures in lakes and slower-moving rivers. Always look for areas with baitfish activity. That's where the predators will be lurking. A medium-heavy spinning rod rated for 20 to 60 grams with a strong braided line of 20 to 40 pounds is ideal. Large soft plastics like shads or grub-tailed lures fished on a weighted jig head or a medium-sized jerkbait are my absolute go-to for this time of year. My small trick for autumn pike is to use natural colors. Perch or roach imitations work wonders. Don't be afraid to fish slowly, pausing your retrieve to let the lure flutter. This often triggers a reaction strike from a wary pike. Finally, for you shore anglers and those hitting the estuaries, sea bass. September is often considered one of the best angling months for sea fish around Ireland, with water temperatures still warm enough and fish feeding hard. You'll find bass in estuaries, along sandy beaches with a good surf, and around rocky headlands, particularly on the south coast. Given the stronger coastal winds expected, these areas with stirred-up water can be fantastic, as baitfish get disoriented, making them easy targets for bass. Focus on casting shallow diving plugs, larger soft plastics retrieved slowly near the bottom, or even a simple ledger rig with ragworm or lugworm. The key is to be adaptable and read the water, especially where waves are pushing bait into ambush points. Now let's break down the conditions for September 26th, 2025. Weather-wise, we're looking at daytime temperatures hovering between 14 and 16 degrees Celsius, dropping to around 8 or 9 degrees Celsius overnight. There's very little precipitation expected across most of the country, meaning generally drier conditions for your fishing trip. Wind will be a significant factor. Inland, we're expecting a southerly wind with a maximum strength of around 3 Beaufort, which is generally quite manageable. However, for our coastal anglers, be aware that southerly to southeasterly winds will be fresh to strong, increasing to strong even near gale force in the west and northwest on Friday morning. There's even a small craft warning for all coasts of Ireland with southerly winds reaching force 6 or higher at times. This stronger wind can make casting challenging and conditions rougher, but as I mentioned, it can also stir up food for predatory fish. Atmospheric pressure in Dublin will range from a maximum of 1,026 hectopascals to a minimum of 1,022 hectopascals, which suggests relatively stable conditions, generally a good sign for fish activity, unlike drastic changes that can put them off the bite. Water temperatures. across islands, coastal and inland waters will generally be in the range of 14 to 16 degrees Celsius. This cooling trend signifies that fish metabolism is slowing compared to summer, but they are still actively feeding, seeking out areas with stable temperatures and readily available food. As for the full moon phase, on September 26, 2025, we'll be in a waxing crescent phase. The moon will be around 19 to 25% illuminated and about 4 to 5 days old since the new moon. Fishermen's folklore often links the waxing crescent with increasing fish activity as the moon's light begins to return. We're also looking at any ebb tides for our sea anglers, which can mean less tidal flow, sometimes concentrating fish in specific areas or allowing for easier presentation of baits and lures. Considering all these factors, the generally stable pressure, cooling but consistent water temperatures, and the fish actively feeding to prepare for winter, I'd give the overall bite for this day a good to very good rating. The autumnal feeding patterns for fish make it a promising day. The key will be embracing the autumn conditions, perhaps a bit of chill, adapting to the winds, and focusing on those deeper holding areas or wind-blown margins where fish will be actively foraging. For coastal anglers, exercise caution with the stronger winds and prioritize safety, but the rewards could be worth it. So, my friends, gear up, stay safe, and I wish you all the best of luck out there. Tight lines and may your nets be heavy. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on future forecasts and tips. And tell me in the comments below, what are you hoping to catch this autumn, and what's your go-to lure for those hungry pike?